Hi, I'm Ashley Swartz, CEO and founder of Furious Minds, on my weekly segment for Beat TV. I'm going big this week. I'm making a prediction. Having spent the last week at an industry event talking about online video buying, programmatic in particular, and sort of talking to a lot of clients and stuff this week, I'm making a prediction that long term, the long tail for OCR and VCE is that they are going to have a negative impact on gross ad spend over the next sort of 5 years. And I just want to take you through my thinking on this, right? Look, this stuff moves inventory today. Motivation on both sides. The guys that are sort of in television, the guys that are digital, right reasons, right? So for the TV guys, they need to make goods because their audience numbers were down year over year. Using online video inventory to displace that seemed like a win-win, right? With the online video guys, they're doubling down and investing in content, and they really wanted to see sort of parity with TV dollars and perceived value with advertisers and brands, and so having an equivalency was great. At the end of the day, we've seen time and time again in industries when short-term gain is a motivating factor for a business tactic or strategy, it ends up in the long tail quite often destroying value instead of creating it. So let's look at GRPs, right? Age and gender are great, but the reality is that when you apply age and gender into online video right now in what is an illiquid market, we can't deliver to the age and gender demands, right? We can't meet audience guarantees. So you end up having inventory go unsold, waste is exposed, which is fine, but then you also sort of get this transference where no attention is paid any longer to the value of the inventory and adjacency and the quality of the brand content against you're buying. Look, it's moving CPMs, but it's moving them in the wrong direction. So when you start to sort of aggregate that audience and you move down funnel, we end up seeing that less and more targeted audiences more, but there's less avails and you can't actually move the inventory. When you are buying up funnel, you're buying at TV CPMs, which are less than digital CPMs. So at the end of the day, the gross revenue seems to be potentially less, but I think right now it's kind of clouded or maybe misguided because of the fact that we have a shortage of inventory and we have such high sell-through. In a sustainable market, when we have a liquid marketplace and we don't have a shortage of premium video inventory, I think what we're seeing now is going to pose a problem and CPMs are going to go even lower. I don't think it's going to be the race to the bottom like digital display, but I do think we're going to see an overall gross reduction in an effective CPM across the ecosystem. Viewability is coming around the corner, right? I mean, ComScore is integrated to VCE, right? We've got a bunch of different things going on. The reality is that viewability is going to have an impact when the inability of sort of a real ad to be delivered and how iframes are skewing video viewing rather. I mean, that's all going to be exposed with sort of these viewability measures. In display with the 3MS, we've seen things like below the fold measurement and stuff like that greatly impact what is actual delivery definitions. And the reality is that if we start applying the idea of completion rates, just like television is leaking into video, if online video leaks into television and we apply the construct of a completion rate, which is measurable online but not on television or TV, it goes both ways, right? And that overall is a very scary thing that we need to be eyes wide open about going into. OCR and VCE, they're multiples, guys. This is equivalency. If we have a multiple that creates a standard or equivalency of an online eyeball to a television eyeball, or vice versa, a 30 to a 15-second one-to-one on each channel, that's scary. That price fixing commoditizes marketplaces, especially when you have an open marketplace, which what online video is. Television, protected, oligopolistic. Online video, wild, wild west, right? It's a democracy. At the end of the day, when you don't have that ability to sort of price fix, which yes, you kind of do on programmatic, you're going to see actually that a multiple diminishes value and decreases gross revenue. Targeting means great things, but in this situation, when you have an illiquid market and you don't have the ability to reach audience guarantees holistically, when you start with even more granular targeting and leveraging first and third party data, you have less available inventory, which means gross receipts are less or gross revenue is less because you can't move it. The money that wants to be spent on targeted audience is not available because the avails and the impressions aren't there, right? My big question is also like, what happens when we have a liquid marketplace? What happens when supply and demand curve meet and there's actually enough premium video in the marketplace to meet the demand of advertisers? What's going to happen to price? It's only going to go down unless we have sort of artificial supply constraints or price fixing, which is absolutely possible, but I think there's so much competition in the marketplace and the growth curve and acceleration curves of online video are so much quicker and steeper than in digital display. We're not going to see the ability to deploy protectionist tactics sort of en masse with multiple players across the ecosystem. The last thing, upfronts television. They'll change dramatically. 70% of revenue in a $70+ billion industry is moved through this activity that occurs in the second quarter of the year, right? It is going to be incredibly impacted if we look at OCR and VCE sort of in that long tail, and how actually that multiple or that equivalency is used in buying for television, as well as then the make goods that are accompany it, right? So tell me your thoughts. I'm curious. I made a big statement. I would love to hear somebody actually tell me that I'm wrong, because it's only going to make for moving the industry forward and better conversation. Thanks so much.